All right, let's talk about the curious decision that the Eagles made to add Kenyon Green to the offensive line. Now, we don't know if he's going to be a starter or what the exact plan is as of right now, but they did trade away a starting safety to get him. So, my question is, what did the Philadelphia Eagles see in him? Why did they want to go out and add Kenyon Green, a player who I think the Texans offensive line, which wasn't very good last year, did get better when they saw him go down with injury and they replaced him. So what's to make of Kenyon Green? Well, first we have to watch Kenyon Green tape, right? So first, the play you see on your screen is going to be going up to block a linebacker one-on-one. As he does, watch as he gets to the next level, and quickly the linebacker is going to try and get around him. Okay, this happens sometimes, right? How does Kenyon Green adjust to this? As you see, the answer is not very well. Does not make that block particularly great. Credit to the running back for still getting around the potential tackler, but still, again, this is a bit of what you see when you see Kenyon Green is not being able to make a lot of blocks, especially when he's in a bit of unusual circumstances. And I think that's a big area he needs to improve upon if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. Like this one, for example. So it's going to be, there's going to be an extra player blitzing off the edge right here. In fact, he's off screen right now, but okay, simple enough. That's where the tackle will go. The, guard, Kenyon Green in this case, will then go to block the player who's lined up as an edge rusher. Simple enough. Okay, well, as you see, right when this play begins, the edge rusher right here is in position to, he looks over and says, well, wait a second, there's a clear gap in between the center and the right guard. I'm going to go over in that direction. This is kind of like a stunt. I don't know if it was by design or not, but it really felt like the Texans' offensive line in general, and this was not just Green's fault, could not pick up a stunt. Because watch how he then gets through, and he would have gotten to C.J. Stroud. Stroud even, I think, had to hurry that throw a little bit because of that. That's something you saw a lot of. And again, I don't know if I even blame Green fully on this, but ultimately, if it was a stunt, he didn't pick up the other guy, right? So regardless, when teams blitzed on that side, they struggled. And I think this is one of the things that Eagles maybe see in him are these things that we can fix? Like this plays another example where you see, this is an interesting concept. And it kind of goes to show with the Colts, they are not a team who's constantly doing stuff like this, where they're constantly doing these exotic blitzing packages. But when they see a team like the Texans that really struggle with picking it up, the Colts are going to adjust their game plan. They're still smart enough to do that because people in the NFL are smart, right? That's the way this is going to be blocked, where the halfback's going to block the most inside guy, and then they're going to go further out wide. So Green's covering the middle guy in that circle of three. And watch as when this play begins, you see that, again, just a little bit slow in picking up who he's supposed to block and who to get in position to block. You see as of right now, you're in a tough spot. This is not the hand placement you want. And quite frankly, I was curious, so I went back and looked at some of his old evaluations. Because I was someone who, I never liked Kenyon Green coming out of college. I just didn't think he was a good player. So I kind of didn't want to trust my own opinion on it. I wanted to see what other people thought about him. And the biggest critique people had of him when he was drafted was his hands. And you really see that in the NFL. His hands just aren't in position right now because of, in part, the blitz, which kind of surprised him a little bit. Took him a little bit to get his hand placement right. Because of that, he has to let go to avoid getting a holding penalty there. And again, Stroud has to run for his life, which he would have had to anyway because there was a unblocked rusher. It was the whole thing, right? It was good design by the Colts, to be honest, but also, they're designing this well because they know that they have a wounded animal, so to speak, with how the Texans struggle to pick up these types of plays. But I think this is in part probably what the Eagles see of, well, these are fixable issues, right? These things aren't something that we can't fix. It's not like you're just not strong enough. If you're not strong enough, you're not strong enough. But if there are things like picking up blitzes and being a little slow in picking that up, we can hopefully get you better at that. Now, I do always have to question when a theory like that emerges is, well, then why hasn't he been good at it before? Like, he has had NFL coaches coaching him. Those guys tend to be pretty good at their jobs. So even the bad ones, quote unquote bad ones, right? But it does happen, and those things do get fixed. And obviously, the Eagles are really good at coaching up offensive linemen. And you do see some examples of, I think, Kenyon Green playing well. He is not someone who loses every rep. This play is a more simple one, and I do think that when he is in more simple situations, he's much better. Like this one, it's a double team block, and he's going up to block a linebacker at the next level. This is something Kenyon Green has done probably thousands of times in his life of being able to do. Again, he is the guard, so he is the one who is on our left of the initial double team block. Watch as he does a good job, gets that player as much out of position as he can, and then gets up to the next level to block the next player. Again, the run didn't go too well, unfortunately, but I thought he did a solid job on that play, so I have no issue with that rep from him. These are the kind of things that we do see him capable of doing, and you have to think for the Eagles, their thought is, well, we have good offensive linemen around him, we can train some of the bad stuff out of him, and then we can have a good lineman. I will say, even in traditional situations, he doesn't always do the best. Like, for example, this play where what's going to happen is it's a one-on-one matchup with a Colts player right there. Just a simple one-on-one matchup, right? Nothing too fancy here. And watch as he really doesn't get hand placement at all. The Colts player knocks his hand right out of the way, is able to quickly get by him and get to Stroud for a sack. Again, hand placement, in theory, is something you can improve upon, correct? Like, if that's your biggest issue, you can, in theory, get better. But also, not everyone gets better. It is, in part, reaction time, and there is a strategy to it as well, and you can't just expect everyone to get better because, well, it is something you can get better. Sometimes guys struggle with that in college and then just struggle with it in the NFL and then never get it down. But there is at least hope. And again, going to a great situation with a great offensive line coach, there is the hope that it can work. Now, one argument I've also heard in favor of Kenyon Green is, well, look at Mekhi Becton. He is someone who wasn't considered a star, and then he comes over to the Eagles in one season, looks a lot better. But there's two big notable differences I would make between that move and this one. First, I'll put his PFF grades on the screen just for a quick example. You see that he missed time in a lot of his career. That was kind of his biggest issue. Missed all of the 2022 season, missed most of the 2021 season, and then 2023, you see his PFF grades were lower. That is true, that he did not have a great year according to PFF. He did have a good year in 2020, though, before finally having another good year in 2024. So it's not like he had never had success before. The other, I think, notable difference I would make is that Mekhi Becton changed positions. He moved from tackle to guard, which that's a tale as old as time of a player's inconsistent at tackle, moves to guard and plays well there. I mean, that happens all the time. Kenyon Green is not doing that. He played tackle in college a bit. He actually played like everywhere in college. He then moved over to guard, and he's already playing guard. So if he is the starting guard, he's going to be playing the position that he was already playing. So you're not getting that potential, position change where a lot of times it's easier to play guard than tackle because there's just less space you have to block for, right? And, that's usually how it works. Not always how it works. Some guys are weirdly flipped in that area, but that is how, it works for most people. That's how it worked for Becton to some degree. It might not have just been the coaching. It also might have been the positional change that helped. So ultimately, again, the biggest thing in Kenyon Green's favor, I would say right now, is the fact that the Eagles trust him. Like, the Eagles are smart with this stuff, and who am I to say that they are wrong? That being said, if I didn't know that, and I was simply just saying, would it be smart to trade a starting safety for a offensive lineman that is Kenyon Green? I would say no. I would say that that's a bad trade on paper. So, right off the bat, I'm saying this is a bad trade as of today, but again, the Eagles usually know what they're doing. They've earned the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see how well it works out. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.